Welcome, everybody, to this exciting episode. I'm trying something different this evening of the Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty Show. We're running a little late because we just had our NFL picks with myself, Shane Stodmiller, Freight Train from Steelers Realm Podcast, and Rich Smoke. So I'm trying something different. We are going to talk about the big win against Cincinnati, and we are going to preview the Seattle Seahawks because I'm trying something different. Hopefully, get the algorithm going. So here we go, and we are going to talk Steeler football. And let's see here how we do it. And we are going to do it right. So, everybody, welcome to this edition of the Black and Gold Dynasty Show. Welcome, everybody, once again to the Triple B Black Gold Dynasty Show. I'm your host, Bad Bubba Brewer. Please hit like and subscribe on YouTube. Download on Spotify. Watch us on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I am on Twitch. I am on every type of social media going today. This will be the last Black and Gold show of the year because we're going to be down to a new year, 2024. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go. I'm on Facebook right now. Hopefully some people are popping in because hopefully they didn't get mad because I didn't show up at 9 o'clock because people get pissed when you don't show up at 9 o'clock. But I was still talking to Freight Train and I was talking to Rich Smoke afterwards. But hey, like I said, Steelers. Last Saturday, it was Christmas. Christmas early. Who didn't want a Steelers victory during Christmas? This guy wanted a Steelers victory during Christmas because it makes your Christmas, very, very special. And hopefully all you guys had a great Christmas. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, 34. The Cincinnati Bengals, 11. I'm going to say it again. One more time. The Steelers, 34. Cincinnati Bengals, 11. Wow. First time we have scored over 30-some points in a long, long time. Long time. So, how they do? New quarterback in. The man who got hit in the head by Myles Garrett got knocked unconscious at home against Baltimore. Third string quarterback, Mason Rudolph. And people were doing, all the Christmas songs and all that shit. I think Mason Rudolph was like, shut the hell up. He finally got to do something. He showed Steeler Nation. They should have been putting me in for the last 3 weeks. And I believe they probably should have because Mitch Trubisky is not going to be here next year. They're going to cut him. He didn't help us out against the Colts, didn't help us out against the Patriots. He just didn't have it. Mason Rudolph was 17 out of 27, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a big, huge touchdown to this guy, George Pickens. That's right. The guy who was having a lot of steam because he, in the media, being negative because he didn't complete his blocks because you're supposed to complete your blocks when you're on an NFL field or when you're on a football field altogether. Hopefully, it is what it is. But he had 4 receptions for 195 yards. Benjamin, thanks for tuning in. We got one guy in a Facebook post. Benjamin's going to give us his score like always. I'm sure it's going to be high. It's going to be high. But that's okay. It's okay. Like I said, Pickens, 4 receptions, 195 yards. He had that big 80-yard. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe it. 2 touchdowns he got. His best game as a Steeler pro. best game as a pro. Okay, so the naysayers after a week that was dogging him, he probably showed up and he came to play. Hopefully we can get a lot more. He actually has 1,000 yards now. So Najee Harris had 19 rushes for 78 yards and a touchdown. Benjamin says if the Steelers ride with Rudolph, the score, oh my God, you changed the score, brother. It's going to be 42-17. Woo! I don't know what you're smoking, brother, but I need some of that. They just scored 34 points last week, Benjamin. I can't see them scoring 42. Cincinnati Bengals defense was ranked 30th or 31st. But also, too, that Steelers defense, they had 3 sacks, one by Highsmith. Highsmith also had an interception. TJ Watt, leading the league in sacks, had 1. And this guy who was an electrician a couple weeks before, now he's, playing now because our inside linebackers are decimated because LaDainian Roberts is actually hurt again, I believe. I'll have to check out the injury report. I didn't see him on the injury report, but Miles Jack had a sack. He played half decent, and we had three INTs. Yeah, 3 INTs. Highsmith had 1. Patrick Peterson in the safety position had 1. And a practice squad player that they put in, my cousin's, I'm going to say he's my cousin, Eric Rao had an interception. I just like Rao on the back of the jersey. My wife likes Rao on the back of the jersey. It looked pretty cool. And that was Rao was a second round pick in 2015 by the Eagles. And he played 95% of the snaps. Hey, our secondaries, KZ's got suspended. So we needed to get some practice play. We need to get some people. We have no inside linebackers, and half our secondary is in shambles. And that was his first pickoff since 2020. That interception came in zone coverage. I think they're playing a lot more zone coverage than they are man-to-man against, since now Jamar Chase wasn't playing and Joe Burrows wasn't playing last week, okay? But, hey, it is what it is. It's the NFL, people. Injuries do happen. Kenny Pickett wasn't around. Kenny was looking like, oh, man, I wish I could throw for 290 yards. I don't know. They're going to go with the hot hand. That's been speculation. Kenny could be ready, whatever. Mason Rudolph will be starting. Kenny could be second string. Mason can, get that, start in Seattle would be great. Like the Browns quarterback, Jake Browning did not have a spectacular game at all. He was 28 for 42. He did throw for 335 yards because our secondary sucks. T. Higgins had that big touchdown in the third quarter. He had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. And also, the Cincinnati Bengals get away from the run now when they go against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Nixon had in 2 games, he had 11 rushes for 43 yards in this game. Now, in 2 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe Joe Nixon probably didn't even rush for over 60-some to 70 yards in 2 meetings with the Steelers. And I don't know why they got away from the run, because the Steelers' run defense is atrocious with no inside backer help. And now T. Higgins, like I said, had 5 receptions. He had an 80-yard touchdown in the third quarter. He had 140 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, the Bengals defense had 1 sack, so the offensive line kept Mason pretty much upright throughout the game. Look, the Steelers are 8-7. 8-7. We got 2 more games to go. 2 more games. And I'm live, people. I don't know where you're all at tonight, but you're not here. Get here. If you got any Steeler questions, I guess if I run 12 minutes late, everybody gets bent out of shape and they don't know what to do. But I got people everywhere. Give me your Steeler comments. Give me some, some Steeler knowledge if you got any. I'm all ears. But it's just, we got 2 games to go. 2 games to go. Now, let me tell you something about some Steeler playoff scenarios. And, well, before that, let's get to my Triple B, and it's not going to be Boswell, my Triple B player of the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. First time ever winning this award. Drum roll. Drum roll. Mason Rudolph is the Triple B player of the game with that performance. 17 out of 27, 290 yards and 2 touchdowns, and commanding that offense and showing something that Mike Tomlin has to realize. What the hell? Why didn't he put him in a couple games sooner? Benjamin says we went outright. The Steelers win the division. That is not correct, Benjamin. Yes, I did pick Rudolph. That is not correct because we're going to talk about some playoff scenarios right now, and even if the Steelers win outright, they will not win a division because the Baltimore Ravens are going to take the division. I hate to say it. So I got some playoff scenarios before we get into reviewing the Seattle game. Now, the path to the playoffs for the Steelers, they got to win outright. They got to win against Seattle and go to Baltimore. And they'll be 10-7. Okay? I think right now they're in the 8th place in the playoffs. Now, 2 of the following must happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have to win their both games. Let's just say, hypothetically, the Pittsburgh Steelers win both games. Okay? 2 of the following things must happen, ladies and gentlemen, in Steeler Nation. The Browns lose out to the Jets and the Bengals. That's one. The Bills lose 1 to the Patriots and Dolphins. Okay? The Jags lose 1 to the Panthers and Titans. Now, the Jaguars beat the Steelers. So that's not in our favor. It's not in our favor, Steeler Nation. It's not in our favor. The Colts lose 1 either to the Raiders or the Texans. Also, the Colts beat us, not in our favor, because they will have the head-to-head, the tiebreaker, because they beat us. And also, the Texans lose 1. They play the Titans or the Colts. And also, the Texans have actually beat us. But the Steelers' playoff scenario has to be they have to win out. If they win out, they'll be 10-7, and Mike Tomlin never had a losing season once again, and they could be 10-7 and look outside, looking in, and not make the playoffs because of that 3-game losing streak of losing to 2-10 teams back to back, and that poor performance in Indianapolis when the Colts run 14 plays and just beat them with an inch of their life. Not good. So we shall see. We shall see if it happens, and that is the playoff scenario. Mr. K, hopefully things all are well, sir. Thank you for jumping on the Triple B Black Gold Dynasty show, which, ladies and gentlemen, in the new year of 2024, I am going to shorten the name to the Black and Gold Dynasty podcast. Black and Gold Dynasty podcast. I am going to do another channel for my Steeler football stuff, and then I'm going to do the Triple B Experience stuff for the wrestling and pop culture and interviews. I'm going to slice them and dice them because we're going to see how the algorithms go here. And I got a lot of stuff that I'm brainstorming to try to capitalize on the podcasting and YouTube world here and go from there. And we're going to see, because I got to bring up material every day to get the algorithms going. But that's what I want to do in 2024. And I figured I'm going to let you guys know it is going to be the Black and Gold Dynasty podcast by yours truly, brought to you by the Triple B Experience. And I got to get the logos, make some logos up. These are great logos and stuff, but it's just too much sometimes to say. Short is sweet, I guess. So, okay, so let's get to some knowledge here. So I don't know if everybody knew this, but it's on today, 12/27/1975 was the birth date of the terrible towel. Every Steeler fan has a terrible towel. And if you don't have a terrible towel, you're not a Steeler fan. So, Steeler Nation, wave your towel and cheer it because it's happy birthday to the terrible towel. And if any other team F's up with a terrible towel, you know that Myron Kopis cursed them, tremendously. And that's happened to people that actually mess with the towel. That's true. That is true. That is true. That's true. Now, the Steelers signed a free agent this week, Jalen Smith, 6'2", 240 pounds. He was picked in the second round in 2016 by the Dallas Cowboys. We need inside linebackers like no tomorrow. He played one game with the Raiders this year. He was released on November 22nd, and he was actually a Pro Bowler at one time. So we need some help and some inside linebackers because we don't need slice and dice in these last two games by a running attack without no inside linebackers. And hopefully in the draft, we look at that. Hi, Kal-El. How you doing? Chris Anderson, thanks for tuning in. Everybody's a little late today because I started late, but hey, you guys tuning in, thank you so much for coming on. So we also signed to the practice squad a DB back named Nate Mirrors to the practice squad because we're losing secondary like no tomorrow either. Yeah, Mr. K. Miles Jack did look good last game because I think he was working third shift where we were at, and they hired him. But yeah, so he's going to be starting. I liked him on that sack, but Cincinnati didn't run against us, like I said before. Joe Nixon had under 50 yards, which was good. Yeah, I knew you'd laugh at that one, and it's crazy there. Let me tell you. So when we get to Seattle, their running game is very, very good. So now the Steelers injury report: Minkah Fitzpatrick is out. Kenny is also out. But Trenton Thomas, well, Fitzpatrick and Trenton Thomas are questionable, but I don't know. They might save Minkah for next week. Everybody got some bumps and bruises. Seattle, Ralph Williams in the house. Ralph Williams own Beaver County. Oh, they are, brother. They are. Yeah. So receiver D. Eskridge is questionable for Seattle. Safety Jamal Adams is questionable. Cornerback Devon Witherspoon, questionable. These are all questionable going into Sunday's matchup. Linebacker Jordan Brooks, questionable. And linebacker Frank Clark, questionable. So, and I just want to say before we get into the game here, Jaylen Warren has eclipsed over 1,000 yards as a Steeler, scrimmage-wise, and the only second player undrafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers to do so. His cousin was the first one, was Fast Willie Parker. I don't know if you guys knew that. I'm going to start doing some trivia. Yes, that is correct. Ralph Williams from Beaver County's own and from the Eternal Bum podcast and from all the podcasting shows that Ralph Williams does. He's talked about Artie Burns and Devin Bush are both playing for Seattle. So he already beat me to the punch. That's right. 2 ex-Steelers are playing for Seattle, and they're both table scrap. Table scrap. They're not that good, and that's why we got rid of him. Devin Bush was a bust. I was happy when we got him, but then I think when he got injured, he just never got to be the inside linebacker that we needed, and he had attitude. And if your dad has to talk to the sports media in Pittsburgh to help you out, then you can go. Get some backbone there, Devin Bush, and go from there. So, and like I said, and right now the offensive for the Steelers is Jaylen Warren is getting more snaps than Najee Harris in the backfield. Mr. K says, can't believe Burns is still playing. Yeah, me neither. I can't believe that. That was a bust too. That was a terrible bust. That was some of those picks, draft picks that weren't very good, and it was terrible. So, like the Seattle and Pittsburgh matchup, the all-time Steelers against Seattle, it's split. They played 20 times. Steelers are 10-10, and Ralph Williams agrees with you. Yeah. And yeah, Burns always got burnt. Yeah, anybody with the name Burns always got burnt. Jarvis is too slow. Jones, yeah, he was a bad pick too. We could do a whole show on the Steelers busts. I think I did that one show one time, but I might have to rehash it. The Steelers' worst draft picks of all time, because in the off season, I'm gonna have to do a lot of stuff and get some different guests on and do some stuff. Because this Steeler podcast does not quit when the season ends. I go all year long, every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Now tonight was I was a little behind the eight ball because we just got our NFL picks with the four of us, and then we were still chit chatting off camera, and I didn't get on at 9 o'clock like I usually do, and I know people are still celebrating the holidays, and that's why it's a little slow this week. But hey, it is what it is, and I appreciate you guys all tuning in tonight. So the last meeting, the Steelers 23, Seattle 20 in overtime. That was a home game. That was the last time they played. That was a Sunday night game. You guys remember that TJ Watt, I believe, had a strip sack and showed up to play, and that's what got him that victory was TJ Watt. And then also the biggest victory in Seattle Seahawks history, and they hate it. They hate us for it, is in Super Bowl 40. That's right. We'll talk about it. Super Bowl 40, when the Steelers beat the Seahawks 21-10, with Willie Parker, running it, and, Randall Whale throwing that touchdown and having the MVP as Hines Ward. Ben did not have a good game then. His stats weren't very good. He did have a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Benjamin says Pickens is going to run past Burns. Yes, I believe that. I believe that. Yes, I do believe that. Artie Burns sucks. So the Steelers are 8-7. The Seattle Seahawks are 8-7. Like I said last week, the Steelers swept Cincinnati. They are 4-1 in the AFC North. Unreal. We can beat people in our own house, but we can't beat everybody else, which is pathetic, especially 2-10 teams, which is ridiculous. Last week, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Titans. Sunday's game is Sunday, December 31st, 4:05 kickoff on Fox at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. 12th man out there, probably raining all day because it always rains in Seattle. It's always sleepless in Seattle. Shitty movie. Just saying. Romantic movies aren't for me. But some Seahawks stuff here. Seattle has held teams to 20 points or fewer in the last of the 5 to 6 games. That's not sounding good for our Steelers offense. But since we scored 34 points, you never know. And we are not good on the West Coast. You are so true. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not won in Seattle since 1983 when the Love Boat was on TV. That's a long time. And that's when Jim Zorn was quarterback and 83 Terry Bradshaw was there. Yeah, 1983. Wow is right. So hopefully we can change destiny because we have to. We have to win these last 2 games, like I said, to give Mike Tomlin his, his winning, winning record, because we might be looking outside looking in. We might be like Gumby in his Christmas special when he's looking through the window. That's the Steelers looking in the window to see everybody else from the AFC in the playoffs, and the Steelers looking out because they didn't capitalize in that 3-week span, and we are terrible in December, and we need to capitalize. We got to see, and they're not going to get rid of Mike Tomlin, so don't even have the pitchforks and ready to go. They're going to. I've heard speculation that they're going to extend Tomlin's contract. I mean, I don't have any Steeler go-to beat writers to get me something, but I know Ralph Williams knows a lot of stuff. That's who I go to. I go to Ralph Williams. They're going to extend his contract. And Mr. K says, hopefully the Colts and Bills fall apart. I don't see the Bills falling apart, brother. I think the Bills are the strongest AFC team right now. Better than the Ravens. I think Monday night with the Ravens and Brock Purdy throwing 3 picks cost them. I just don't see the Ravens. People said the Ravens and 49ers, it was a preview of the Super Bowl. I don't see it. I see the 49ers, but if Brock Purdy has a showing like he had, Sunday or Monday was not good. Lakin, thank you for tuning in. So Steelers got to compete against Geno Smith, the former number one pick from New York. He's the comeback player of the year. And the talented running back tandem between Kenneth Walker and rookie Zach Charbonnet. So, and the guys on my podcast that we picked the NFL games, I know Rich Smoke said that Walker is going to run for 200 yards. I hope not. I know our inside linebacking core is decimated. I mean, hopefully Cam Hayward can have a sit-down meeting with God in that locker room and have the Steelers defense tightening up. And like I said, last week they shut down Nixon to 40-some yards because I don't know why the Cincinnati Bengals couldn't run against us in the last two meetings. That's just not like Joe Nixon. But the thing that actually scares me of playing Seattle is not the running backs, it's the receivers. The receiver tandem of DK Metcalf, who is a beast, and Tyler Lockett, and then rookie Jalen Smith-Njigba. They got some great receivers, and Joey Porter will be on DK Metcalf and have to cover him like a blanket. And realistically, Joey Porter has been playing very, very, very good football of shutting down their big receivers. Even though he gets a pass interference call, I'll take it. Sean Robinson, what's in the house? I think they will put Porter on Metcalf. They have to. He's the only one that can keep up with him because Patrick Peterson's moving to safety, and Levi Wallace definitely cannot. I haven't heard his name in a while, and maybe that's why I like to. Probably defensive rookie of the year. Not much is happening, Skin. Not much at all. Just talking Steeler football. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably against him and maybe somebody from the Jets or somebody that's a rookie. I'm not sure because I'll be honest with you, everybody, I don't care about any other team besides the Steelers. So this is a Steeler podcast. I don't care about everybody else unless we play them. That's why, Metcalf and Lockett or that scares me just a little bit. Now on defense, they have linebacker Bobby Wagner, safety Julian Love. He has 3 interceptions in the past 3 weeks. So Mason Rudolph did not throw any interceptions last week. Thank God, because he's not Mitch Trubisky. Thank God, because hopefully Mitch never sees a Steeler playing time ever again, and they cut him. I don't know what happened to Mitch. I know when we signed him, I thought he was going to be good, and then they drafted Kenny, and then Mitch got thrown to the back burner. Mason Rudolph definitely got thrown to the back burner, but that resume, that game of last week, can get him a job anywhere in the NFL as a second string quarterback. He might be hey, there's nothing wrong with being a backup quarterback in the NFL. Nothing wrong at all. So, and like we said, I was told by Ralph Williams, former Steelers, Artie Burns and Devin Bush, or we'd be playing against the Steelers, and hopefully Najee and Jaylen Warren run over those guys tremendously. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, 1983, we haven't won. How and why and what keys of Steelers victory, as I do talk about on this podcast, because this podcast is one of many Steeler podcasts out there, what are going to be the keys for the Steelers to win? They're on the road. They cannot turn the ball over at all. No turnovers by the Steelers offense. If they have turnovers, it could be a bad day, which I hope not. Okay? One big play by the defense, because like I said, the last time they played, TJ Watt had a strip sack and a fumble on Geno Smith. Can that happen? Can history repeat itself? I hope so. Okay? And then Warren is better than Harris. I think Warren hits the holes a little bit better because Benjamin, but Najee is a tackle-to-tackle runner. You got the more you use them, the better off you are. They just saved him, and that's why he's getting a lot of yards. He was leading the game last week in rushing, and that combo is good. Warren and Harris. I think Harris is. I don't know what his total rushing stats are. I don't think he's pretty close. Maybe 800. Maybe. I don't know. I should have parlayed him and George Pickens. The first time I don't parlay Pickens and Najee, they get touchdowns. First time in 5 weeks. I picked them 5 weeks, and the first time I didn't pick them, they scored touchdowns, and it cost me. I can't win shit on parlays. I can't win in anything. The only thing I win in life is marrying my wife. That's it. I'm telling you. I can't win. I can't bet. If I could win a Powerball, oh my God, I would give a little bit to charity. I would. I'd be very charitable because I can't win nothing on a parlay. And I'll try it again. So we shall see. But also another key victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers will be the play of Mason Rudolph. So it's going to be no turnovers, big defensive play, maybe TJ Watt. Oh, you're so lucky. Yeah, I can't win shit, brother. It's terrible. God, I can't win anything. Nothing. It's terrible. And I try to parlay. And then have Mason Rudolph, the Mason Rudolph of last week, not the Mason Rudolph. But actually, I think Mason Rudolph as a starter is actually 7-4. Actually, a lot better than Mitch Trubisky. And Mason Rudolph has a stronger arm than everybody in the quarterbacking department of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He would have been over 300 yards when he threw to Dante Johnson. He overthrew him. Oh, I do FanDuel. I got FanDuel. I can't win shit, though. Somebody won in FanDuel, Mr. K. Chunko told me he had a 14 touchdown parlay, $400,000. Yeah. Oh, my God. I would never go to work again. I retire. But, yeah, those are my 3 keys right there. And Mason Rudolph can show the world. That's right. Yeah, it was crazy. Can show the world. Can Mason Rudolph go 2-0 in Seattle? Haven't won since 1983. I'm going to say the answer is yes, because I'm going to give my prediction because I never go against the Pittsburgh Steelers, as crazy as it sounds. I look, I get upset when they lose, but not as bad as I used to now because I'm getting older. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't think they're going to score 40 points like Benjamin said in this show when I started. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers is probably going to win 27-17 on the arm, and they're going to run the ball and keep that defense. They're going to run the ball and keep the offense of Seattle on the sidelines, and the Steelers defense is going to get some turnovers. And also it would be great if, say, they get a pick 6 or a fumble or a strip sack for a touchdown. If there was a Steelers defensive touchdown in Seattle, that would be nice. And that would be a victory since 1983, would be 2023. The Steelers go 9-7, and then they go into Baltimore to see if they can make it into playoffs. Because we're going to get Mike Tomlin never had a losing season. Now, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, we are. Yes. Oh, wow. The Penguins are winning 6-0. Wow, that's good for a Pittsburgh team. Thank you, Benjamin. So my pick was 27-17 Pittsburgh. Everybody, please hit like and subscribe. I just wanted, like I told everybody, next year, the show's name, I'm switching it. I'm taking the Triple B out of it. Do you think the Ravens will set? Yes. The last game of the season, I believe that the Ravens will sit Jackson out, but they have Huntley, and Huntley did beat us last year. And Mr. K, it's very hard to beat Baltimore in Baltimore, no matter who they play, and a quarterback. And we shall see next week, because that's still a big rivalry. And I don't even know what time that game is, because they didn't give a time yet. And hopefully it's not from 7-3 or 1-3, because I'll be pissed. You know how that goes. So, but yeah. So, like I said, I'm going to shorten the name down. Next year, I'm going to try to do a lot more with this stuff. I've been working on it and brainstorming podcast stuff, because I want to take everything to the next level on every part of my shows. But I think I'm going to split the Steelers stuff from the pulp culture stuff and wrestling stuff and interviews. I'm going to do that, and then keep the Steelers stuff separate. And I'm just going to go with I'm going to go with the name, the Black and Gold Dynasty Podcast Show, and come up with a different logo. And the Dynasties, we won 6 Super Bowls. God damn it, that's just the way it is. So I just take this same name, and I'll just take out the Triple B. You know what I mean? It's too much to say sometimes, and I'm old and had a couple concussions, and simple is better. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please hit like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. It seems like all my podcast shows with my panels and stuff, everybody that gets on my shows is getting podcasts. My podcast tree is better than Mike Tomlin's coaching tree. I just said it. Rich Smoke is doing his own podcasting. Shane Stodmiller is doing his own podcasting. That's pretty good from a podcasting tree, and I appreciate those guys. And like I said, this is the I'm the pioneer, and I'll go with that. So everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys haven't tuned in, hit the replay. You can listen to it on audio on Buzzsprout, on Spotify. Well, put it on. It's going to be on Spotify and all your audio things. So download it. And no one's ever came from Tomlin's tree. Nobody. I was being sarcastic. Like, I got more people that get on my podcast that get shows than Tomlin has coaches that get any kind of coaching experience. That's funny, I thought. That was brought up tonight in the NFL Pick Show. So, but I will say this. I will probably be back on for the Triple B Experience 9 o'clock on Friday. I might try to get my wife on and maybe do a fireside chat like we do every year. And we shall see. And I'll talk about some pop culture, some wrestling. I want to do some comic books. I got a lot of stuff of ideas that I want to do to try to get this show monetized. Yes, I said monetized because I would like to make $5 doing this and see where it goes. I'm not as smart or intelligent as Mr. Beast, but God damn it, I think I'm funny when I need to be. So everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Pittsburgh 27-17 over Seattle. I'll be back next week. I'm sorry I was a little late, but we had our NFL Pick Show. We'll have Week 18 at 8 o'clock next Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday nights, every Wednesday. I got to get that. I didn't get that comic book. They didn't have them at my store. But I did, before I get out of here, I did buy some Batman Volume 2. I got a whole bunch of those I bought at the comic book store yesterday. I don't have number 1, but I did buy number 3. And I know you're a Batman fanatic. I want to get that series, but it'll take me a long time. So everybody, please hit like, subscribe. I'm getting out of here. Everybody, good seeing you, Mr. K. Hopefully everything is well. And everybody, come on back Friday night at 9 o'clock. And I'll see everybody that's a Steeler fan next Wednesday night. Oh, wait, Steeler. Oh, wait. There he goes. There you go, Steeler Freak. Thanks for tuning in. And everybody, have a great new year. 2004 is going to be huge. I'm telling you. So everybody, thank you guys. And have a great night. And I'll see everybody on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Take care. I'll see everybody Friday. Go Steelers.